I stood frozen before the hotel room door, my heart pounding, anticipation hanging thick in the air. My hands trembled uncontrollably. He claimed he had merely stepped out for a few snacks, but the air was thick with unspoken tension, as if the very walls were eavesdropping on his deceit. "I'll be back in 20 minutes, Mom," he declared, his voice laced with an urgency that sent a shiver down my spine. It was a mere 5 hours ago, a fleeting moment that now feels like an eternity. My son, Daniel, orchestrated this trip for us with fervent anticipation, a tumultuous escape to the shore, where the waves crash with a fury that mirrors the chaos within. Only the two of us, entwined in a world of our own, where shadows dance and secrets whisper. The air thick with tension, every heartbeat a thunderous echo of our unspoken desires. What lies ahead is uncertain, but together we stand, defiant against the storm. He proclaimed it would be a vacation of healing, a sanctuary for the soul amidst the chaos of life. In the aftermath of my surgery, the world shifted, shadows loomed, and every breath felt like a battle against the unknown. In the aftermath of the relentless turmoil within those walls, after everything I had sacrificed for him, "You deserve a break, Mom," he declared, his voice heavy with emotion, as if the weight of the world rested on his shoulders. "Allow me to shoulder the weight of it all this time." I believed him, with every fibre of my being, as the world around us trembled with uncertainty. Oh, how I regret that fateful choice. In the beginning, a chilling thought crept into my mind: what if something catastrophic had occurred? I called out into the abyss. Silence reigned supreme. I sent a message. Silence. An abyss of emptiness. The void looms large, swallowing all hope and expectation. Nothingness reigns supreme, a chilling reminder of what once was, now reduced to mere whispers in the dark. I lingered by the window, my heart racing as I scrutinized every figure in a Hawaiian shirt, every couple entwined in a tender embrace, desperately yearning for a glimpse of him. Instead, I beheld a revelation that shattered my very perception. A jolt of electricity surged through my chest, so piercing that I clutched the curtain, desperate for support as the world around me spun in chaos. There he stood, a figure cloaked in mystery, the air thick with tension as all eyes turned toward him. My Daniel, grinning with an intensity that could ignite the very air around, a smile that holds secrets untold. Howling with laughter, the sound echoed through the air, a cacophony of joy that pierced the silence like a dagger. Grasping the delicate hand of a stranger, my heart raced with uncertainty and intrigue. With towels clutched tightly in their hands, they descended towards the beach, the air thick with anticipation, and the promise of adventure lurking just beyond the horizon. Behold, the intoxicating elixirs await, shades of intrigue, and her head lay upon his shoulder, a tender tableau reminiscent of a blissful honeymoon, where time stood still and the world faded away. I slammed my palm against the window, the cold glass biting into my skin as I stared into the abyss beyond. How could I have been so utterly wrong? With a heart pounding like a war drum, I burst from the confines of the hotel room, hurtling down the elevator as if the very walls were closing in. The beach path awaited, a siren's call pulling me into the tumultuous embrace of the unknown. I trailed behind them, shrouded in shadows, my heart pounding with every step. I found myself trapped in a whirlwind of despair, my voice trembling as I pleaded. "No, no, please, no." I arrived at the precipice of the beach, my heart pounding, and came to an abrupt halt. There they stood, a sight to behold. Reclining on a borrowed lounge chair, the weight of the world pressing down, secrets swirling in the air like a tempest waiting to unleash its fury. He was feeding her morsels of fruit, each piece a tantalizing promise, a moment suspended in time, as if the world around them had faded into oblivion. She was capturing her own image, a moment frozen in time, as the world around her faded into oblivion. He erupted into laughter at her whispered words, a sound that echoed through the charged air, and in that electrifying moment, he captured her lips with his own. In that electrifying moment, the realization struck me like a thunderclap. I had not been cast aside into the shadows of oblivion. Abandoned, left to face the haunting echoes of solitude. I staggered back to the hotel, each step a battle against the swirling chaos in my mind. The suitcase loomed ominously by the bed, a silent witness to the chaos of my recent arrival, its contents still echoing the tumult of just 2 nights past. I sank into the depths of my thoughts, a tempest brewing within me. And something deep within me shattered, silently, unleashing a torrent of emotions that had long been buried. I held my breath, the silence deafening as the horror unfolded before my eyes. I didn't scream. In a moment charged with tension, I refrained from reaching out to him. I stood there, numb, as the weight of the moment crashed down around me. Not a single tear fell. In a whirlwind of emotion, I secured the next flight home, the urgency of my decision echoing in the depths of my heart. As I sat on the plane, my gaze fixated on the window, a storm of memories surged within me, each one a haunting reminder of the sacrifices I had made for him. In a heart-wrenching twist of fate, I sacrificed my precious jewelry, each piece a memory, to rescue him from the suffocating grip of his student loan. In a heart-wrenching twist of fate, I abandoned my long-awaited retirement trip, compelled by the urgent call of duty to aid him with his rent. In a heart-wrenching twist of fate, I found myself parting with a piece of the land my beloved late husband bequeathed to me, all to secure the very house he now calls home. Behold, our house, the one with my name still haunting the documents. I have arrived. I did not return to that place of sorrow. Not a single item was removed from its prison of cardboard and tape. I stormed into the lawyer's office, heart racing, the weight of the world on my shoulders. "Is it possible to sell a property that we both own without a word of warning?" I demanded. He arched an eyebrow, a silent storm brewing in his gaze. "Is the other party inscribed upon the sacred deed?" "No," I said, my voice trembling with the weight of the moment, a storm brewing in the depths of my soul. "It's only me, standing alone in the shadows, the weight of the world pressing down, a solitary figure in a tumultuous storm of chaos." Then, with a heavy heart and a voice trembling with uncertainty, he uttered the fateful words. "Yes. The power is yours. Seize it, mold it, twist it to your will. The possibilities are endless, and the choice is yours alone. What will you do with this freedom? The stage is set, and the spotlight is on you." The very next morning, I made the fateful decision to put the house up for sale. Not merely the house, but everything that surrounds it, everything that breathes within its walls, everything that whispers secrets in the shadows. The car, the electronics, the furniture that once adorned our home, and the savings account that held our dreams gone, all gone. I surged forward, a shadow in the night, icy determination coursing through my veins, every sense razor-sharp and honed to perfection. 3 days later, the cash was finally in my grasp, a tantalizing promise of freedom and peril intertwined. In the heart of a tranquil neighborhood, where towering trees whispered secrets of the past, I found myself ensconced in a small apartment, a mere shell devoid of memories, waiting for the storm of life to unfold. In a moment of fierce resolve, I severed all ties and blocked his number. I averted my gaze from his messages, as if they were a tempest waiting to unleash chaos upon my soul. How could I bear to immerse myself in the web of deceit, the hollow justifications, the insidious manipulation that lay before me? But there it was, the first missed call, glaring at me like a haunting spectre as the plane touched down. Then, another. The tension crackles in the air, a heartbeat away from chaos. Then, a staggering 20. When they finally returned, the phone lay there, a harbinger of chaos, with more than 30 missed calls flashing ominously on the screen. As the door creaked open, a chilling silence enveloped them. The house stood barren, a hollow shell devoid of life. There is no couch. The absence looms like a dark cloud, casting shadows over the room, leaving a void that echoes with unfulfilled expectations. Where comfort should reside, there is only emptiness, a stark reminder of what could have been. The silence is deafening, a dramatic pause in the unfolding story of this space. No television. The silence looms heavy, a void where entertainment once thrived. Abandoned by the very essence of preservation, the cold steel box stands empty, a haunting reminder of what once was. No fridge. Just an echo of lost sustenance, a chilling void in the heart of the home. Not a single spoon in sight. Picture him there, frozen in time, a solitary figure against the backdrop of chaos. Mouth agape, a gasp hangs in the air. His girlfriend gasped, her breath caught in a whirlwind of disbelief. Where has everything vanished to? She must have demanded, her voice trembling with urgency. And perhaps, in that moment of tension, he let out a nervous laugh, a sound that echoed with uncertainty. Perhaps he believed it was all just a cruel joke, a twisted game played at his expense, until his eyes fell upon the sold sign, stark and unforgiving, looming out front like a harbinger of fate. And there it lay, the final letter, hauntingly abandoned on the kitchen counter. How dare you think I was merely a fallback option in your twisted game of love? Brace yourself for the tumultuous journey of starting anew. His voice, once a familiar echo, vanished into the abyss, only to resurface a week later, shrouded in an unsettling silence that lingered in the air like a ghostly whisper. In the dim light of my new apartment, I stood alone, folding laundry, the silence wrapping around me like a heavy shroud. The windows stood wide, gaping like mouths ready to scream secrets into the night. A chilling breeze swept through, whispering secrets of the night, as shadows danced ominously in its wake. And in that fleeting moment, a profound tranquility enveloped me, as if the chaos of the world had finally receded into the shadows. Silence enveloped the air, thick and suffocating. Silence reigns, a stillness that grips the heart. No chaos, only the haunting echo of what could have been. No guilt suffocating my heart as it once did. Suddenly, the intercom erupted with a jarring buzz, slicing through the silence like a knife through flesh. I stood paralyzed, my heart racing, as the weight of the moment crashed down upon me. Not a soul had been entrusted with this address. My hand trembled, suspended in the air, poised above the button, as if the very fate of the universe hung in the balance. In that electrifying moment, I pressed it. "Is anyone there? Mother?" His voice shattered like glass. "Mum, it's me, your child, standing here in the shadows of despair, pleading for your recognition. Release me from this torment." Silence enveloped the room, a heavy shroud of unspoken words hanging in the air. I stood there, my lips sealed, the weight of my thoughts pressing down like a storm ready to break. Not a single word escaped my mouth. "Mum, I'm on my knees here, outside, pleading with you, please, allow me to unveil the truth." His voice pierced the air, but I turned away, unwilling to let his words seep into my mind. His words pierced through the air, unwanted and heavy, like a storm cloud ready to unleash its fury. Yet, deep within me, a flicker of that woman who had devoted her very existence to his needs stirred, compelling me to reach for the buzzer. I opened the door, my heart racing, and let him in. He emerged, gasping for air, hair in disarray, face ashen, a haunting reflection of sleepless nights. His eyes darted around the room, taking in every corner of my new apartment, as if searching for secrets hidden within its walls. Minuscule, immaculate. Silence reigns, a heavy shroud enveloping the air, as if the world itself holds its breath, waiting for the storm to break. It is a hollow echo of the sanctuary we once called our own. There was a time when this space was merely a backdrop, a canvas he painted with the strokes of his daily life. But now, it looms before him, a haunting reminder of what once was, a ghost of familiarity turned foreign. Nothing like it remains, and the weight of that absence crushes his very soul. "Where has everything gone?" he demanded, his voice trembling with urgency. Silence enveloped me like a heavy shroud, a deafening void where words dared not tread. "Why, oh why, did you choose this path of destruction?" I tilted my head, a sudden wave of disbelief crashing over me. "Why did you dare to?" He advanced, a glimmer of hope in his eyes, as if he believed I would embrace him in that moment of tension. I stood frozen, a statue in the storm of chaos around me. "I never intended for you to discover it this way," he exclaimed, his voice trembling with urgency. I was on the brink of revealing everything, but then The words caught in my throat. A tempest of emotions swirling within me. In a twist of fate, Emily stunned me with her audacious decision she had booked the beach day, and in the shadows of your mind, I was erased, a mere whisper lost to the winds of your indifference. His mouth gaped wide, a silent scream caught in the depths of his throat, shuttered. The finality hangs in the air like a heavy curtain, leaving only echoes of what once was. Do you have any idea what it feels like? I declared, my voice steady yet resolute. To be forsaken by your own flesh and blood, in an unfamiliar city, a place where shadows loom and hope flickers like a dying flame. To stand alone on a balcony, heart pounding, eyes scanning the horizon for that familiar figure who swore they'd return in just 20 minutes, only to witness them frolicking on the beach, laughter echoing like a cruel reminder that you were never a part of their joy. I didn't mean to hurt you, he whispered, his voice trembling with a mix of regret and desperation. It was not as it seemed. It was precisely that way, I declared, the weight of my words hanging in the air like a storm cloud ready to burst. You abandoned me. Silence reigns. A void where words should be. An absence that screams louder than any message could convey. No note. Just emptiness. Heavy and suffocating. No message. Silence. An abyss of emptiness. A void where hope once flickered, now extinguished. The weight of nothingness hangs heavy in the air, suffocating, relentless. What was, is no more. A haunting echo of absence reverberates through the shadows, leaving only the chilling reminder of what could have been, just disappeared in the midst of the journey, as if I were mere baggage left behind, forgotten and abandoned. He recoiled, a storm of guilt etched across his features, as if the weight of his actions bore down upon him like a crushing tide. I never imagined. In a world where every moment counts, I found myself yearning for just a fleeting second with Emily, a desperate attempt to bridge the chasm of silence that loomed between us. Are you telling me that the woman you've kept shrouded in secrecy for months is finally being revealed? I burst into the conversation, shattering the silence like glass breaking underfoot. Ah, the very same person who orchestrated the heist on our joint account just 2 days before our grand adventure. He recoiled, a jolt of surprise coursing through him. Indeed. I had checked, and the weight of the revelation hung heavy in the air, a tension crackling like electricity, as if the very walls were holding their breath, waiting for the truth to unfold. My eyes fell upon the transaction history, and what I discovered sent shivers down my spine. The night before our departure, we found ourselves seated in an opulent restaurant, the air thick with anticipation, and the clinking of crystal glasses echoing like a prelude to the unknown that awaited us. Glistening treasures, each piece a tale of allure and seduction, whispering secrets of elegance and desire. A breathtaking transformation of the beach resort over the course of 2 exhilarating days. Everything, every last detail, bound to his name like a dark secret waiting to be unveiled, financed by our hard-earned cash. My money, the very essence of my existence, the lifeblood of my ambitions, slipping through my fingers like sand in an hourglass. What treachery awaits to claim it? What shadows loom over my fortune? You lavished her with opulence, while I languished in the shadows of a room you abandoned, a ghost of your promises haunting the silence. He collapsed onto the edge of my couch, as if the crushing weight of reality had finally come crashing down upon him. Mum, I've made a catastrophic mistake. Oh, I am fully aware that I did. But to sell it all? The very thought sends shivers down the spine. The house, a looming spectre of secrets and shadows, where every creak of the floorboards whispers tales of despair and longing. What horrors lie within its walls? What truths are buried beneath the dust of forgotten memories? The air thickens with tension, as if the very structure holds its breath, waiting for the next chapter of its tragic saga to unfold. How could this be? The injustice of it all. It was utterly, undeniably unfair. Indeed, you are correct, I declared. It was a cruel twist of fate. Years ago, I should have taken that plunge, But now the weight of regret hangs heavy in the air, a haunting reminder of what could have been. His eyes bulged with disbelief. Oh, how blind I was to the transformation unfolding before my very eyes. You, once so tender, have now cast aside the warmth of a mother's love, replacing it with the cold, hard calculations of a personal bank. How could I have missed the signs? The betrayal cuts deep. In the throes of chaos, every emergency unfolds like a tempest, a harrowing tale of desperation and urgency. Every setback, a thunderous crash echoing through the corridors of ambition, a heart-stopping moment where dreams teeter on the brink of despair. Every fleeting desire, a tempest of longing and urgency. With every heartbeat, I uttered that fateful word, yes. Each time, it echoed like a thunderclap in the silence of my resolve. In a heart-wrenching twist of fate, I sacrificed my dreams, laying them bare at your feet, all so you could pursue yours with reckless abandon. His eyes brimmed with tears, a tempest of emotion threatening to spill over. I was under the impression that you were here to lend a hand. I did indeed. In the depths of my trust, I shattered into pieces, until that fateful moment on the beach, when I caught sight of you, grinning like a fool, while I languished in solitude, consumed by the dread that you were in peril, perhaps even lifeless. You didn't even bother to send a text. He plunged his face into his trembling hands, a tempest of despair swirling within him. In a moment of despair, I believed I had all the time in the world to mend the shattered pieces, to unveil the truth. Years, Daniel, years that slipped through your fingers like sand, leaving nothing but echoes of what could have been. Years of my relentless sacrifice, a haunting echo of devotion that reverberates through the shadows of my existence. And you bestowed upon me nothing but deceit. You seized my offering, and in a heartbeat, vanished from my life. Silence enveloped him like a shroud, his lips sealed tight, betraying no hint of the tempest raging within. I cast aside every possession, a bold declaration of my newfound freedom, for in that moment I understood I owed you nothing, not a single shred of my being. He raised his gaze, a deliberate and agonizing motion, as if the weight of the world rested upon his shoulders. Is this truly the end? Have you truly reached the end of your role as my mother? No, I uttered with a tremor in my voice, the weight of the moment hanging heavy in the air. Forever, I shall be your mother, an unyielding force in the tempest of life, but I shall no longer play the part of your fool. In the heavy stillness, a silence enveloped the air, thick and suffocating, as if the world itself held its breath, waiting for the inevitable storm to break. A tormenting agony. Then, with a sudden surge of defiance, he rose to his feet. Where am I to venture now, lost in this tempest of uncertainty? That burden no longer rests upon my shoulders, I declared with a fierce resolve. Behold, you possess a girlfriend. Unravel the mystery. He paused, a storm of uncertainty raging within him. How does one even begin to unravel the tangled web of uncertainty that lies ahead? You could start, I declared, my voice echoing in the silence, as I approached the door, by discovering the raw, aching sensation of solitude. Perhaps, in that moment of revelation, you'll grasp the depths of the torment you inflicted upon me. He spun around, words poised on his lips, but the door had already swung wide, shattering the moment. He lingered in that moment, the air thick with tension. And in that fleeting instant, the ghost of the boy he once was emerged from the shadows, haunting my thoughts. The boy, bloodied and bruised, stumbled forth, his knee a canvas of pain, tears streaming down his cheeks as he collapsed into my embrace, seeking solace in the storm of his anguish. But that boy had transformed into a man, callous and unrepentant, who revelled in the sight of his mother, dining in solitude, while he lost himself in passionate kisses with his girlfriend beneath the haunting glow of the moonlight. And with a final, resounding thud, I closed the door. And this time, a wave of liberation washed over me, leaving guilt in the dust of my past. 3 days later, the phone rang, shattering the silence. A call from the bank, a harbinger of fate. In a twist of fate, Daniel dared to reach for the emergency fund I had concealed in the shadows of the past. It has been closed, the woman on the phone declared, her voice dripping with finality. We uncovered a web of deceit, a shadowy dance of suspicious activity lurking in the darkness. I expressed my gratitude to her, a moment heavy with unspoken emotions. Shock coursed through me, yet I remained unfazed. In the tumultuous week that followed, Emily made desperate attempts to reach out to me. She unleashed a torrent of words on Facebook, a dramatic spectacle adorned with an array of emojis and insincere apologies that dripped with false sentiment. Silence hung in the air, heavy and suffocating. I stood there, paralyzed, my lips sealed tight, refusing to utter a single word. But I preserved the message, a haunting echo of what once was. A few days after that, Daniel showed up again. This time, a duffel bag clutched tightly, as if it held the weight of the world within its seams. He appeared gaunt, weariness etched into his features, a haunting desperation lurking in his eyes. "I'm sorry," he uttered once more, his voice trembling with the weight of unspoken regrets. In that moment, I felt the weight of the world crash down upon me as I uttered the words. "I know." My voice barely a whisper, laden with the gravity of unspoken truths. Yet, the shadows of the past remain unaltered, haunting every moment. All I seek is a sanctuary, a fleeting refuge for just a handful of days. "For years I offered you a sanctuary," I exclaimed, "and you cast it aside for a fleeting taste of sunlight." His eyes plunged into a shadowy abyss. "Are you truly abandoning me in my moment of need?" "Absolutely not, Daniel. You betrayed me, casting me aside like a forgotten shadow. At long last, I am turning my back and stepping away from it all." He lingered in the shadows, a tempest of anticipation swirling around him, desperate for a flicker of doubt to ignite my resolve. But I simply did not. He stormed out, silence hanging heavy in the air, leaving behind a void of unspoken emotions. The silence that enveloped the room was a haunting melody, the most serene sound I had encountered in what felt like an eternity. Yet, tranquility is but a fleeting illusion, not when individuals like Daniel remain oblivious to the consequences of their actions. But then, just a week later, an event unfolded that shattered my expectations and revealed that this tale was far from finished, not even in the slightest. The chasm between expectation and reality yawns wide, a gaping void of disappointment. On that fateful Thursday morning, silence hung in the air, thick with anticipation, when the letter arrived, shattering the stillness of my world. It is not an email, not just any text. A letter, trembling with unspoken words, poised on the brink of revelation. Thick, cream-coloured paper, meticulously folded into an envelope, bears my full name, starkly typed on the front, a harbinger of secrets yet to unfold. I nearly discarded it alongside the heap of junk mail, but an inexplicable sensation tugged at me. It is official. With trembling hands, I dared to unveil it, inch by agonizing inch. My hands quaked with an electric tension as I dared to read the first sentence, each word a harbinger of the chaos to come. "Behold, this letter serves as a harbinger of the storm that is about to engulf you. Legal action has been unleashed against you, concerning the fateful sale of the property situated at." My eyes fluttered open, a moment suspended in time. My stomach plummeted into an abyss of despair. Submitted by Daniel Carter. A name that echoes through the shadows. A whisper of fate entwined with destiny. What secrets lie beneath the surface of this enigmatic figure? The air thickens with anticipation as the story unfolds, revealing the tumultuous journey that awaits. My own flesh and blood, my son, was turning against me in a courtroom battle. Initially, I was convinced it was a grave error, a catastrophic misunderstanding lurking in the shadows. Yet, the name of the lawyer was undeniably authentic. The signature was undeniably real, a chilling truth that sent shivers down the spine of all who dared to gaze upon it. The court date loomed, a chilling reality that sent shivers down the spine. He had crossed the threshold of remorse, never to return. The silence hung heavy in the air, a testament to the unspoken rift between them. He was approaching, vengeance burning in his eyes. With trembling hands, I dialed the number of the lawyer inscribed on the ominous document, my heart racing as uncertainty loomed over me. He confirmed it, shattering the silence like a thunderclap in the night. "Indeed, my lady, in a stunning revelation, your son asserts that the property was a shared possession, and that you executed the sale without his awareness or consent." How utterly absurd. In a moment of sheer madness, I shattered into a million pieces. I possessed that house, and it was mine, all mine. I have made the purchase, every single brick, a price paid in blood and tears. "Then you have nothing to worry about," he declared, his voice dripping with an unsettling calmness that sent shivers down the spine. "But I implore you, consider the audacious act of hiring. Are you truly that devastated by my decision to cease your support?" I demanded. "Or are you consumed by the anguish of having exhausted every possible way to wield my existence?" He remained silent, the weight of unspoken words hanging in the air like a storm cloud, ready to unleash its fury. I edged forward, heart racing, the air thick with tension. "You dared to snatch away my tranquility. You sought to condemn me for daring to prioritize my own existence. And now, in the haunting silence of despair, you find yourself stripped bare, left with nothing but the echoes of what once was. Not the house, not the money, not even my trust. Everything crumbles around me, leaving only echoes of betrayal and despair. What remains for me now?" He leaned in, his voice barely a breath, a secret hanging in the air like a storm about to break. I shrugged, a gesture heavy with unspoken turmoil. "Choices. The weight of destiny hangs in the balance, each decision a thunderous echo in the silence of uncertainty. What path will you tread? What fate awaits? The stage is set, and the drama unfolds with every breath you take. And in that moment I turned my back and walked away, leaving everything behind in a whirlwind of chaos and unresolved tension. But that fateful night, my phone rang once more, shattering the silence with an ominous chime. It was a moment that shattered the very fabric of reality this time. It wasn't Daniel, it was Emily. The name echoed through the air, heavy with unspoken secrets and a past that refused to stay buried. A figure shrouded in mystery. She emerged from the shadows, igniting a whirlwind of emotions that threatened to consume all in her path. And what she revealed next sent a chill racing through my veins. Her tears streamed down her face, a torrent of anguish that seemed to echo through the silence of the room. Fury ignites within, a tempest of rage unleashed. Seething with rage, "I had no idea he was deceiving me about the money," she exclaimed, her voice trembling with disbelief. He whispered to me, his voice trembling with urgency, that it was a family fund. A secret shrouded in shadows, cloaked in mystery. He dared to wield your card, to invade your account. He revealed to me, with a voice trembling with intensity, that the house was not merely a structure, but his birthright, a legacy passed down through the ages. She halted, tears streaming down her face, the weight of despair crashing upon her like a tidal wave. "And now he has vanished into the abyss." "Vanished into thin air?" I demanded. With a heart pounding like a drum, he hastily gathered his belongings, each item a fragment of a life now slipping through his fingers. "Vanished into thin air. They have cast me aside, severing all ties in a dramatic twist of fate. It snatched away the final remnants of my fortune, leaving me utterly destitute. As I shut my eyes, the world around me faded into an abyss of darkness, a haunting silence enveloping my senses. It had transcended beyond my solitary existence. Daniel, the one she trusted most, had plunged the dagger of betrayal deep into her heart. And in that heart-stopping moment, it struck me my son was not merely reckless. He was a force of chaos, a tempest waiting to unleash its fury. I should have felt a surge of satisfaction, a triumphant wave washing over me, but instead, a gnawing emptiness clawed at my insides. In a stunning twist of fate, the verdict was delivered. I emerged victorious in the court case. I severed the ties that bound me. I turned my back on my son's desperate hold, leaving behind the storm of turmoil that perpetually clung to him. But now, Emily's voice reverberated through the corridors of my thoughts, a haunting melody that refused to fade. He has vanished into the abyss. Initially, doubt clouded my mind, a tempest of skepticism raging within me. Perhaps she wove a web of deceit, manipulating my emotions to coax me into allowing him back into my life. Or perhaps she was merely another pawn in this treacherous game, just as I had been. Yet, within the depths of her voice, a haunting familiarity clawed at my very soul. In a whirlwind of emotions, shock grips the heart, fear creeps into the mind, and shame casts a dark shadow over the soul. The very same emotions surged through me, a tempest of nostalgia and longing, as I beheld my son on that beach, blissfully unaware of the chaos that loomed beyond the horizon. That fateful night, slumber eluded me. There I was, sprawled on a brand new mattress, devoid of a frame, in a room that whispered secrets of the unknown. As I lay there, my gaze fixed on the ceiling, a chilling question echoed in my mind, the very one that tormented every mother in the depths of the night. What have I done to deserve this torment? The following morning I braced myself and opened my email, heart racing with anticipation. A new message appeared, shattering the silence of the moment. Subject line that echoes through the corridors of uncertainty. You have every right to uncover the truth. It came from Emily. Oh, how the weight of unspoken truths hangs heavy in the air. I am acutely aware that you bear no obligation to me, yet the silence screams louder than any confession could. What a tangled web we weave. Forgive me. I stand before you, burdened by the weight of my regrets, desperate to express my sorrow for all that has transpired. Until this very moment, the truth lay shrouded in darkness, a haunting mystery waiting to be unveiled. He accused you of being abusive. How could you betray him so? You snatched his money and sought to manipulate every facet of his existence. That you were compelling him to remain by your side, ensnared by your illness and the haunting shadows of your solitude. I was ensnared by his words, utterly convinced, as if caught in a web of deceit and allure. He manipulated me, just as he manipulated you. As we returned, the chilling sight of the empty house sent him spiraling into a frenzy of panic. You claimed you had obliterated it all. In a desperate plea, he turned to me, eyes wide with urgency, attempting to weave a tale that would ensnare my conscience, urging me to join him in a legal battle against you, to assert that the house belonged to him by law. As the case crumbled into dust, a chilling transformation overtook him, his warmth extinguished, leaving only an icy facade in its wake. Far away, an echo of silence lingers, a haunting reminder of what once was. In a heart-stopping twist, he snatched away the final remnants of my savings and disappeared into thin air. He snatched my credit cards, my laptop, and vanished into thin air, leaving nothing but chaos in his wake. This morning, I took the harrowing step of filing a police report. It was a revelation that could not be contained, a truth that clawed at the edges of my conscience, demanding to be unleashed. You simply had to know. Emily. I remained paralyzed, time stretching endlessly around me as the weight of the moment bore down like a crushing wave. He deceived her, weaving a web of betrayal that shattered her trust into a million pieces. Just as he had deceived me with his treacherous words. He twisted her will, ensnaring her in a web of deceit, compelling her to stand by his side in the courtroom's unforgiving glare. He wove a twisted tale of fantasy, casting himself as the innocent victim while I emerged as the monstrous villain lurking in the shadows. And when that shattered into a million pieces, he resorted to his familiar, desperate measures. He fled, heart pounding, as the shadows closed in around him. I shut the laptop with a deliberate slowness, the weight of the moment hanging heavy in the air. The weight of it all became unbearable, a tempest raging within me that demanded attention. I could no longer turn a blind eye to the chaos unfolding before me. This was a tempest of treachery, a heart-stopping plunge into the abyss of deceit. Behold, a pattern emerges, dark and twisted, lurking in the shadows of fate. I was consumed by an insatiable thirst for knowledge, a burning desire that clawed at my very soul. In a moment charged with tension, I dialed the number of the officer named in Emily's report, my heart racing with anticipation. Detective Saunders. A name that echoes through the shadows of the city, where secrets lurk and danger lurks just around the corner. "Mom!" he exclaimed, the weight of my confirmation hanging in the air like a storm cloud ready to burst. "Thank you for making this fateful call. We were desperate to reach out to you. What could possibly be the subject of such intrigue?" With a heavy heart, he let out a deep, resonant sigh. "Your son stands accused of a heinous crime, credit card fraud. The walls are closing in, and the truth hangs in the balance. Emily is far from alone in this tumultuous tale." Whispers of betrayal echo through the shadows as we uncover chilling accounts from no fewer than 3 brave women, their voices rising from the depths of 2 states, each story more harrowing than the last. For nearly a year, he has woven a web of deception, employing aliases, counterfeit enterprises, and fleeting rentals to ensnare unsuspecting victims in his treacherous scheme. I blinked, my heart racing as the world around me shifted, reality teetering on the edge of the unimaginable. What in the world? "It is our belief that he cunningly exploited the personal information from your accounts to orchestrate those nefarious scams. He had access to your bank records, didn't he?" For years I whispered in the shadows, secrets clinging to my lips like a forbidden promise. "He's clever," Saunders declared, a glint of intrigue in his eyes. Though devoid of a violent past, the shadows of emotional manipulation loom large, twisting hearts and minds in a relentless grip. He ensnares their trust in an instant, weaving a web of confidence that captivates all who encounter him. And just like that, when he claims his prize, he vanishes into thin air, until the next unsuspecting soul falls prey to the darkness lurking in the shadows. I gasped for air, my lungs constricted, as if the very essence of life was being snatched away from me. My son was a master of deception, weaving tales that ensnared the unsuspecting. He was a villain, lurking in the shadows of society, a master of deceit and chaos. My knees trembled, betraying me, and I collapsed onto the ground. The detective pressed on, his voice a low rumble, thick with tension and unspoken truths. "We are leaving no stone unturned in our desperate quest to find him. Should you receive any word from him, do not hesitate, reach out to us at once. And, I understand this is a daunting task, but if there are any lingering joint accounts or ancient digital files within his reach, it would be wise to sever those ties immediately." After I hung up, a heavy silence enveloped me, leaving me utterly paralyzed in disbelief. It was as if the final pieces of a long-buried mystery had erupted into place, revealing a truth that had been shrouded in darkness. Fragments of fear had gripped my heart, paralyzing me from witnessing the truth that lay before me. The desperate moments he pleaded for urgent funds. Always a matter of life and death. In the haunting hours of the night, when shadows dance and secrets whisper, time slips away, always arriving too late. The tales that unraveled in a whirlwind of confusion. The rents have soared to unimaginable heights. The bills, they are shockingly low. In the haunting echoes of his voice, he cried out, "I just need a little help to get back on my feet." Desperation dripped from every word, a plea that pierced the silence like a dagger. I stood there, a silent witness to his struggle, resolute in my decision. I was never helping him up. I was aiding him in his desperate flight. The guilt crashed over me, a relentless tide, pulling me under into its depths. There was no remorse, no flicker of guilt for the actions I had taken, but for what I had so recklessly overlooked. Every ominous signal blaring in the night, every single red flag, waving ominously in the tempest of uncertainty. In my fervent desperation to be needed, to serve a purpose, I allowed love to cast a shroud over my eyes, obscuring the harsh reality that lay before me. That fateful afternoon, I found myself drawn to the bank, a place where fortunes could shift in an instant. In a moment of sheer desperation, I altered every single password. All old accounts, once bustling with life, have now been sealed shut, never to be reopened again. They were alerted to the looming spectre of potential fraud. In a bold move, I unleashed alerts upon my credit report and summoned a freeze to protect my financial fortress. In a whirlwind of chaos and dust, I embarked on a relentless quest to conquer the untamed wilderness of my home. With every sweep of the broom, I battled the shadows of neglect, determined to reclaim my sanctuary from the clutches of disorder. The air crackled with tension as I faced the remnants of clutter, each item a silent witness to, once more, the cycle begins anew. And in that moment, a surge of liberation coursed through me, as if the chains of his chaos were finally shattering, allowing me to rise from the ashes of his destruction. In the stillness of the night, the doorbell shattered the silence, echoing like a harbinger of fate. With bated breath, I approached the door and peered through the peephole, my heart racing as the world outside loomed ominously before me. It was Emily, her name, echoed like a haunting whisper in the shadows, a revelation that sent shivers down the spine of fate itself. With a trembling hand, I turned the doorknob, the creaking hinges echoing like a haunting whisper in the stillness of the night. She appeared transformed, a shadow of her former self, as if the very essence of her being had been rewritten in the darkest ink of fate, shattered in a manner that felt hauntingly familiar. Never a victim, not a fool. Oh, the audacity of those who dare to underestimate me. But a woman, driven to the brink of despair, stood tall and declared, "Enough. I'm sorry," she uttered once more, her voice trembling with an intensity that pierced the air. I stepped aside, the air thick with tension, and let her in, the weight of unspoken words hanging between us like a storm waiting to break. She cast her gaze around, her heart pounding with anticipation. In this cramped little space, the walls seemed to close in, suffocating dreams and ambitions alike. "It's mine," I declared, my voice trembling with fierce conviction. With a slow, deliberate nod, she sealed her fate in that moment. He once spoke of acquiring a penthouse, a lofty dream that danced on the edge of reality. On whose money, I ask? Whose wealth fuels this audacious endeavour? The question hangs in the air, heavy with implications and intrigue. We erupted into laughter, the sound echoing like thunder in the stillness of the moment, with a heart full of anguish. With a swift motion, she yanked an object from the depths of her bag, the air thick with anticipation. A crimson journal, its pages whispering secrets of untold stories. "He used to write in this," she declared, her voice trembling with the weight of unspoken memories. In the haunting silence that followed his departure, I seized the moment, clutching it tightly, as if it were the last remnant of a fading dream. Against my better judgment, I found myself yearning for the truth. I opened it, and the air crackled with tension, as if the very universe held its breath in anticipation of what lay within. It was not merely a journal. It was a logbook, a vessel of secrets waiting to be uncovered, each page a whisper of the past, each entry a pulse of hidden truths that could shatter the very fabric of reality. Names swirl like whispers in the dark. Sophie, a haunting 300. Text tomorrow, a ticking clock. And Maddie, desperate for a new card, clutching a fake invoice like a lifeline. The tension thickens, secrets lurking in every shadow. A multitude of entries, each one a whisper of intrigue and suspense. My name blazed across the first page, a bold proclamation that sent shockwaves through my very being. Mother, a staggering $5,000, effortlessly within reach, raised the monthly grocery budget to a staggering $800, a deceitful twist in the tale. I gripped the book tightly, my heart racing with anticipation. My chest ignited with an unbearable fire. Emily's voice trembled as she whispered, the weight of her words hanging in the air like a fragile secret waiting to shatter. He dubbed it his survival plan, a desperate scheme born from the ashes of despair. Words failed me, trapped in the depths of my throat, as silence enveloped the air like a suffocating shroud. I spun around, hurling the book onto the kitchen counter as if it were a searing ember, seething with rage. I've already taken the plunge and filed it with the police. They claimed it would save us. Then, with a piercing gaze that seemed to unravel the very fabric of my soul, she looked at me carefully. You did not create a beast, yet he willingly embraced the darkness within. Our gazes collided, a tempest of emotions swirling in the air between us. In the shadows of my love, I nurtured a boy, a fragile soul burdened by pain. Yet, in my fierce protection, I shielded him from the harsh truths of life, never allowing him to confront the consequences that loomed like dark clouds on the horizon. "You have it now," she declared, her voice trembling with intensity. We lingered in a heavy silence, the weight of unspoken words hanging in the air like a storm about to break. Then I exclaimed, "So what unfolds next?" With a dismissive flick of her shoulders, she shrugged, as if the weight of the world rested lightly upon her. The air crackled with unspoken tension, a silent rebellion against the chaos surrounding her. In a twist of fate, I find myself returning to my sister's sanctuary, desperately seeking to piece together the fragments of my life once more. I've exhausted my tears, and now I stand resolute. There's nothing more to lose, and I'm finished with the sorrow he brought into my life. "Good," I declared, my voice echoing with a weight that hung in the air. With a fleeting smile that held a world of secrets, she turned and strode toward the door, each step echoing with unspoken tension. Before she vanished into the shadows, she cast one last, haunting glance over her shoulder. "Listen closely, for what I am about to say may shatter your world. If he dares to return, if that phone rings with his name lighting up the screen, resist the urge. Do not, under any circumstances, let him cross that threshold again." "Not again." "Text I will not," I declared, and my resolve was unyielding. That fateful night, I crafted a list, not of tasks to conquer, but of the very things I would banish from my existence forever. Enough with the guilt. Rescue missions have come to a devastating end. The truth shatters the silence, piercing through the veil of deception. No more lies. The air crackles with tension as the weight of honesty hangs heavy in the room. Daniel is gone, vanished into the abyss of the unknown. But just as I struck his name from the list, my phone erupted with a buzz, shattering the silence like a thunderclap. A call from an unknown number, shrouded in mystery and intrigue, echoes through the silence, leaving a chilling sense of anticipation in the air. A single haunting voicemail awaits, echoing through the silence. With a trembling hand, I pressed play. His voice echoed through the silence, a haunting melody that sent shivers down spines and stirred the very depths of the soul. "Mother." Oh, how the weight of the world hangs heavy in the air. It is I, standing before you, a figure shrouded in mystery and revelation. Oh, how I dread the thought that you might loathe me with every fibre of your being. But I find myself ensnared in a web of trouble. True chaos looms. All I crave is a sanctuary, a refuge to call my own. Only a single night. By all means, I implore you. Desperation clings to me like a shadow, for I find myself utterly alone, with no refuge in sight. And just like that, the message came to a haunting conclusion, leaving an echo of silence in its wake. My eyes were glued to the phone, a tempest of emotions swirling within me as time stretched into an agonizing eternity. And in that moment, I pressed delete, severing the ties to everything that once was. As the days slipped away, the next month unfolded in a haunting silence, a blur of unspoken tension and unrelenting shadows. With each painstaking step, I painstakingly reconstructed the shattered remnants of my existence. In a twist of fate, I stumbled upon a part-time job at the local library, where the air is thick with the scent of aged paper and whispered secrets. My days are consumed by the rhythmic dance of shelving books, each spine a story waiting to be told, and the exhilarating chaos of guiding children through the enchanting world of programs designed to spark their imaginations. It was a serene facade, a calm before the storm of chaos that lurked just beneath the surface. The scent of paper hung in the air, a haunting reminder of stories untold and secrets waiting to be unveiled. The silence envelops, as readers become ensnared in the gripping tales that hold them captive. It struck a chord deep within, awakening the very essence of my affection for the simplest of pleasures. In a whirlwind of chaos, I cast aside the remnants of his presence, filling the void with treasures unearthed from the depths of second-hand despair. A solitary wooden table, standing defiantly in the shadows, whispers secrets of forgotten tales and untold dramas that linger in the air. 2 chairs, starkly different, stand in a tense standoff. A tattered leather armchair, steeped in secrets and shadows, whispers tales of forgotten souls who once sought solace within its embrace. Everything was shrouded in an air of quiet simplicity, yet beneath the surface, a tempest of unspoken truths brewed, waiting to erupt. But it was mine. No phantoms of treachery lurking in those shadows. In a moment of desperation, I found myself compelled to initiate a small savings jar, precariously perched on the kitchen counter, a silent witness to my unfolding saga, a lifeline, a sanctuary, an emergency fund crafted solely for my needs. With each paycheck, I secretly stashed away a fragment of my hard-earned money, witnessing its silent ascent, a quiet rebellion against the chaos of life. At long last, a surge of empowerment coursed through me as I stood tall, finally shielding myself from the chaos that had once engulfed my very being. In a whirlwind of emotions, Emily packed her bags and fled the confines of her old life, seeking refuge in her sister's embrace, leaving behind a world that no longer felt like home. We clung to our connection through the flickering glow of our screens, each message a lifeline in the dark abyss of silence. Gone are the days of grand entrances, replaced now by mere whispers of connection. In the stillness of the night, we lay entwined in slumber, our dreams weaving tales of the books we had devoured, each page a whisper of secrets. And there, in the corner, the jar stood, a silent witness to our hopes, slowly filling, each moment a heartbeat echoing in the shadows. In the depths of my soul, a serene happiness flickered, a gentle whisper amidst the chaos of life. Content. Unyielding. It was a rainy Wednesday afternoon, the kind that drips with foreboding, when I stumbled through the door, having escaped the confines of the library far earlier than fate had intended. I left the door unlocked, a naive belief in safety swirling in my mind, a false sense of security that whispered I could finally let my guard down. With a sudden crash, my bag hit the floor, echoing through the silence as I stormed into the kitchen, driven by an insatiable thirst for a cup of tea that felt like a lifeline in that moment. The instant I flicked the kettle switch, an unsettling sensation gripped me, as if the very air had thickened with foreboding. My savings jar, the one with the blue lid that once evoked the vastness of the sky, had vanished into thin air. I was paralyzed, caught in a moment that felt like an eternity. My heart raced, a thunderous drum echoing in the silence, each beat a desperate cry for survival. With a heart pounding like thunder, I let the spoon slip from my grasp, clattering to the floor as I bolted toward the living room, urgency coursing through my veins. The jar remains elusive, shrouded in mystery and despair. No shattered remnants of a once whole existence. There was no sign of forced entry, a chilling revelation that sent shivers down the spine of all who heard it. The front door stood resolutely locked, a silent sentinel guarding secrets untold. I peered through the windows, my heart racing with anticipation, secured with an iron grip. The lock on the back door loomed ominously, a silent sentinel guarding secrets untold. Unscathed, all was a blur, a haunting echo of familiarity that suffocated the senses. But someone had been here, lurking in the shadows, leaving behind an unsettling trace of their presence. With trembling hands, I seized my phone and dialed Detective Saunders, the weight of urgency pressing down on me like a storm about to unleash its fury. He picked up on the second ring, the tension crackling in the air like a storm about to break. Detective Saunders, what dark secrets do you seek to unravel? How may I assist in this tangled web of intrigue? Someone has stolen my emergency jar, I exclaimed, my voice trembling with disbelief. No, it was taken from me. He let out a heavy sigh, the weight of the world pressing down upon him. Ma'am, I regret to inform you that without the unmistakable marks of a crime such as the brutal intrusion of forced entry or the chilling presence of threats, it's nearly impossible to justify the allocation of our precious resources. I sealed my lips in a tight, defiant line. It's not merely the money, it's the profound significance it carries. He's pushing my limits, probing the very depths of my resolve. Is this a test? What lies beneath the surface of this inquiry? The tension hangs thick in the air, a question poised on the edge of revelation. My son, he stands at the precipice of despair, a tempest of emotions swirling within him. Each heartbeat echoes the weight of unspoken words, a haunting melody of dreams shattered and hopes dashed. The world around him blurs, a chaotic symphony of shadows and light, as he grapples with the enormity of his struggles. Will he? He discovers a path to return, shrouded in mystery and fraught with peril. He's on a relentless hunt for loopholes, searching for the tiniest cracks in my defenses, ready to exploit any weakness that might shatter my fortress. I clutched the counter with a ferocity that turned my knuckles to bone-white spectres of tension. He dares to test whether I will come to his aid once more, as the shadows of our past loom ominously over us. Silence enveloped Saunders, a heavy pause that seemed to stretch into eternity. "I understand," he declared, his voice trembling with the weight of unspoken truths. "I shall inscribe it within the depths of the file, where secrets lie in wait. Reach out to me the moment you catch a glimpse of him, or if the winds of fate shift in any other way." I hung up, the weight of the world crashing down as I sank into the armchair, a silent witness to my unravelling. The rain pounded relentlessly against the window, each drop a desperate plea for attention. My world shattered, leaving me vulnerable and laid bare, as if the very walls had closed in around me. That fateful night, I lay awake, the harsh glow of every light burning bright in each room, casting eerie shadows that danced across the walls. The wind howled like a banshee, and in the depths of my mind, a figure lurked, slinking through the shadows with sinister intent. Every bump, every whisper of the wind echoed like the ominous approach of unseen footsteps, sending chills racing down the spine. The next morning, a chilling note lay ominously slipped beneath the door, scrawled in his chaotic handwriting. "Mom, I know you think you're safe, but I'll always find you." The air thickened with dread, the words echoing like a sinister promise in the silence. "Prepare yourself, for I am on my way." I clutched the note, its presence searing my very soul. My desire was to set it ablaze, to tear it asunder. But I plunged it into my folder of undeniable proof, a silent witness to the chaos that unfolded. I dialed Emily's number, my heart racing with anticipation. She responded in an instant, as if the very air crackled with anticipation. "What is the matter? What dark cloud looms over you?" she demanded, her voice trembling with urgency. In a moment of betrayal, he snatched away my jar, leaving nothing but a void where trust once thrived. In a moment of desperation, a note was left behind, a silent scream echoing in the void. In the heavy stillness, a profound silence enveloped the air, thick and suffocating, as if the world held its breath, waiting for the storm to break. Then she whispered, her voice trembling with secrets untold, as if the very air around her held its breath in anticipation. He inflicted this torment upon me as well. Only a mere week ago, he snatched away my precious jewelry, leaving me in a whirlwind of disbelief and despair. In a moment of desperation, a note was left behind, a silent scream echoing in the void of uncertainty. "You think you can escape my gaze? Think again." I shut my eyes, plunging into the abyss of darkness. He spiraling into chaos. Her voice trembled with urgency, a storm of concern swirling in her eyes. "I'm worried for you," she declared, the weight of her words hanging heavy in the air. "Perhaps, just perhaps. Perhaps it's time for you to pack your bags once more." I shook my head. A silent rebellion in the shadows, though she remained blissfully unaware of my turmoil. I can no longer flee from the shadows that haunt me. "Then let me come stay with you," she implored, her voice trembling with a mix of desperation and hope. "Only until the storm passes." My heart raced as uncertainty gripped me, a chilling pause hanging in the air. A fragment of my soul yearned for the haunting embrace of solitude. Part of me craved her presence with an intensity that eclipsed all else. At long last I uttered the words, "Okay," arrive with the dawn's first light. We ended the call, and the weight of the world crashed down on me as I frantically piled chairs against the door, my heart racing with each click of the locks. I couldn't shake the feeling of dread as I scrolled through my phone, staring at the detective's number, a lifeline in a storm of uncertainty. As the sun broke through the clouds, Emily burst into my world, her arms wrapping around me with a fierce urgency, a desperate embrace that spoke volumes of the storm brewing within her heart. "We will face this together," she declared, her voice trembling with a mix of fear and determination. In the fading light of the afternoon, we embarked on a mission fraught with tension. Installing a solitary security camera above the door, a silent sentinel poised to capture the secrets of all who dared to cross its threshold. It drained my jar of every last coin, yet the price was a mere whisper compared to the value it bestowed upon me. That fateful night, as we huddled in the shadowy living room, the only illumination emanating from the eerie glow of the camera monitor, a chilling sound pierced the silence, echoing from beyond the front window. A haunting scrape, echoing through the silence, like metal clawing against the grain of aged wood. Emily's body tensed, a sudden wave of dread washing over her. "Did you hear that?" I nodded, the weight of the moment crashing down upon me like a tidal wave, each heartbeat echoing the gravity of my decision. My throat felt like the desert, parched and aching for relief. With a flick of the switch, the monitor sprang to life, casting an eerie glow that filled the room with anticipation. The front porch light flickered to life, casting an eerie glow, and there he stood, a figure shrouded in mystery. Daniel. He stood beneath the relentless downpour, drenched in shadows, his face obscured by the dark embrace of his hooded jacket. In his trembling hand, he clutched an object, the weight of its significance pressing down on him like a storm cloud ready to unleash its fury. On the screen, he appeared diminutive, a mere shadow of his true self. Teetering on the edge of fragility, a haunting sense of vulnerability looms. Yet, deep within, I was acutely aware of the truth that lay hidden beneath the surface. With a swift motion, he lifted his hand, his finger slicing through the air as it aimed directly at the camera, a moment frozen in time, charged with tension. And just like that, he disappeared into thin air. We dashed to the window, hearts pounding, breathless with anticipation. The porch lay desolate, a haunting silence enveloping the air. The rain had ceased its relentless assault, yet the ground bore witness to a sinister tale. Footprints, dark and foreboding, snaked their way around the shadowy side of the house. And there, beneath the haunting glow of the porch light, lay the jar shattered, a million pieces glistening like lost hopes in the night. A trail of glimmering coins and tattered bills snaked its way to the garden gate, vanishing into the ominous shadows beyond. I whispered, my voice barely escaping the confines of my trembling lips. He demands an answer, his eyes burning with intensity, as if the very air crackles with unspoken tension. Emily's fingers tightened around my arm, a vice of desperation and urgency. "What shall we do now?" I swallowed hard, the weight of the moment crashing down upon me like a tidal wave of despair. My heart thundered in my chest, a relentless drumbeat echoing the chaos within. In that electrifying moment, the weight of truth crashed down upon me. This battle was far from over. Not even close. I remained calm, my heart steady amidst the chaos swirling around me. I stood there, frozen, as if the very air around me had conspired to keep me still, my heart pounding in a silence that screamed louder than any words could convey. I didn't even shake. In the stillness of the night, a transformation surged within me, as if the very fabric of my being had been rewritten while I slept. Perhaps it was the haunting image of the shattered jar, ominously abandoned like a sinister warning. Perhaps it was the way Daniel's face illuminated beneath that porch light, so audacious, so utterly unfazed, as if he clung to the delusion that I was still his to claim. He had crossed the line, and in that moment, I was irrevocably done. Emily awoke to a startling sight. There I stood, fully dressed, cradling a steaming cup of tea, as if the world outside had ceased to exist. The security camera footage froze on my laptop, a chilling moment suspended in time. "You're calm," she said, her voice trembling as she rubbed her eyes in disbelief. "The moment has arrived. I have made a decision that will change everything." She tilted her head, a gesture laden with unspoken secrets and the weight of 1,000 unshed tears. "Shall we summon the authorities?" "Absolutely not. Not at this moment." With trembling hands, I extended the folder towards her. the weight of unspoken truths hanging heavily in the air between us. At last, the moment has arrived. We shall unveil our secrets to the world. Emily's fingers trembled as she flipped through the pages, her eyes widening in disbelief. Inside lay the damning evidence, the credit card fraud reports, a ticking time bomb waiting to explode. The documents of the court case lay bare the tension, each page a testament to the unfolding drama that grips the very heart of justice. His journal, a chilling testament to manipulation, now echoes with the weight of recent threats looming ominously in the shadows. He craves the spotlight, I declared with fervour. He flourishes in the shadows, where light dares not tread. When I cast a beam upon him, his strength diminishes, unravelling like a thread in the dark. "So, you dare to step into the realm of the media?" she demanded, her voice trembling with urgency. "Absolutely not." I offered her a smile so fragile, it seemed to hang in the air like a whisper of a secret, teetering on the edge of revelation. I must confront the very souls who nurtured him into existence. Her eyes fluttered open, a moment suspended in time. His father's family? The very mention sends shivers down the spine, a lineage shrouded in mystery and whispers of dark secrets. What shadows lurk behind their name? What tales of betrayal and loyalty are woven into their history? The air thickens with tension as the truth hangs precariously in the balance, waiting to be unveiled. Absolutely not my family. In that electrifying moment, Emily's comprehension struck like a lightning bolt, illuminating the shadows of uncertainty that had clouded her mind. For years, Daniel had cast me into a shadowy abyss of isolation. Every time I sought to rekindle the bonds with my cousins or long-lost friends, he spun a web of excuses, conjured up chaos, or wielded guilt like a weapon, forcing me to abandon my plans. He enveloped me in a suffocating silence, a haunting void that twisted my mind into believing I was utterly, irrevocably alone. But I was not. That fateful afternoon, Emily and I climbed into my car, hearts racing as we sped towards the enigmatic abode of my older sister, the formidable Aunt Grace. It had been an agonizing silence, stretching over 2 long years, where not a single word had passed between us. Not due to a clash, but because the cacophony of existence had become unbearable. Or rather, it was Daniel who had taken the plunge into the abyss. She flung the door open, her heart racing with disbelief. Then, as if struck by a bolt of lightning, her face ignited with an incandescent glow. "Oh my goodness! Laura! Is that truly you?" I clutched her fiercely, as if the very fabric of reality threatened to tear us apart. "Forgive me, for the shadows of time have stretched far too long." With a swift motion, she yanked me into the shadows, silence enveloping us like a thick fog. In a whirlwind of emotions, we found ourselves gathered at her kitchen table, me, Emily, and Aunt Grace, each heartbeat echoing the gravity of the moment as I unveiled the truth that hung heavily in the air. In that electrifying moment, Grace stood frozen, her mind racing, grappling with the sheer weight of disbelief. Then, like a storm brewing on the horizon, anger surged forth, consuming everything in its path. "That little devil," she hissed, her fingers trembling as they danced over the pages of the folder. "All this time, you bore the weight of your suffering in silence." A solitary figure lost in the shadows of despair. I found myself at a loss for words, my voice barely a whisper, trembling with the weight of unspoken truths. He twisted my reality, casting shadows of doubt upon my very sanity. With a trembling heart, Grace extended her hand, grasping mine with an intensity that sent shivers down my spine. "You are not insane. How utterly courageous you are. You are enduring a harrowing ordeal that would leave most mothers speechless." As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting eerie shadows, Grace unleashed a torrent of words in our old family group, chat a digital battleground where Daniel dared not tread. She unveiled the truth, a revelation that shattered the silence and sent ripples through the very fabric of their existence. In the midst of anticipation, the journey looms ahead, shrouded in mystery and excitement. What awaits beyond the horizon? Will it be a tale of triumph or a descent into chaos? The very essence of adventure hangs in the balance, ready to unfold with every step taken into the unknown. The lawsuit looms ominously, a tempest brewing on the horizon, ready to unleash chaos and upheaval in its wake. The ominous threats loom large, casting shadows of dread and uncertainty. The betrayal, the deceit, the web of lies that ensnares the unsuspecting. A sinister plot unfolds, revealing the depths of treachery lurking in the shadows. Who can be trusted when the very foundation of truth crumbles beneath our feet? The fraud is not merely an act. It is a chilling revelation that shakes the core of our existence. By the break of dawn, a staggering 24 messages awaited me, each one a harbinger of secrets and revelations yet to unfold. Some were desperate pleas for forgiveness, echoing through the air like haunting whispers of regret. Others were desperate pleas for salvation. Yet, beneath the surface, they all echoed a singular, haunting truth. In the depths of despair, a whisper echoes, "You are not alone." On that fateful day, the phone rang once more, and it was none other than Detective Saunders, his voice laced with urgency and a hint of foreboding. With a voice trembling with urgency, he declared, "We tracked Daniel's location. He lurks in the shadows of the next state, cloaked in the guise of David Carver. In a twist of fate, he found himself ensnared by the unyielding gaze of CCTV, desperately attempting to rent a car with a counterfeit ID, his heart racing as the walls closed in around him." I sat up, tension coiling in the air around me. "Are you really going to take him away in handcuffs?" "We're close," Saunders replied, his voice trembling with urgency, the weight of the moment hanging heavy in the air. "But we desperately need your help to secure it once and for all. If he dares to reach out to you once more, resist the urge to block him. Capture it all, every moment, every whisper of truth that hangs in the air like a storm waiting to break. Ensnare him in the very web of his own utterances." I slammed the phone down, my heart racing as I turned to Emily, her eyes wide with disbelief. It is finally the moment for him to approach me. The tension thick in the air, anticipation crackling like electricity. In a moment of reckless abandon, I unblocked his number. And I waited, heart pounding, breath held, as the seconds stretched into an eternity. It was but a fleeting moment, a heartbeat in the grand tapestry of time. 2 days later, a voice note pierced the silence, echoing with an urgency that sent shivers down my spine. "Mother, oh, how the weight of the world hangs heavy in the air. Oh, the fury that simmers beneath the surface. I can feel the heat of your anger radiating through the air, palpable and electric. Oh, I see how it is. You're weaving your web of deceit, spinning tales to paint me as the villain in your grand drama. But I swear, I never intended to cause you pain." Desperation clawed at my insides, a relentless beast demanding release. "Hear me now. I'm trapped in a dark abyss, where hope seems but a distant memory. In the dead of night, I find myself cocooned in the confines of my car, a makeshift sanctuary where dreams and despair collide. In a twist of fate, the ground beneath me crumbled as I faced the devastating reality. I lost my job. All I seek is a refuge, a sanctuary to rest my weary soul, if only for a fleeting few nights. Then I shall vanish from your existence for all eternity. I swear on everything that is sacred and true." With bated breath, I pressed play, the haunting message echoing through the room, destined to shatter Saunders' world. He smiled, a grin that danced on the edge of darkness, a flicker of something sinister lurking beneath the surface. "Enough is enough. With this and the journal, we hold the key to unlocking a warrant." As dawn broke, the air thick with tension, Daniel found himself ensnared in a web of fate, handcuffed in the dim light of a gas station parking lot. In a heart-stopping twist, the culprit was apprehended, desperately attempting to wield yet another stolen card. It was at the stroke of noon when the call pierced through the silence, shattering the calm of the day. Joy was the emotion I anticipated, yet it eluded me like a phantom in the night. Or the sweet taste of triumph, hanging in the air like a heavy fog, waiting to engulf the unsuspecting. Perhaps a glimmer of relief, a fleeting whisper in the storm of chaos. Instead, an overwhelming wave of tranquility washed over me. A haunting, fragile tranquility that echoes through the silence. As if I could finally cast aside the shadows of my past, sealing them away in a box, hidden in a place where they could no longer inflict their pain upon me. Weeks dragged on, each moment heavy with anticipation as the case slowly took shape, shrouded in mystery and tension. With a trembling voice, Emily stepped into the spotlight, her heart racing as she revealed the harrowing truth. There were multiple victims now. Indeed, I too found myself ensnared in that very sentiment. The judge leaned in, eyes wide, as we recounted the harrowing tale of how Daniel had relentlessly chipped away at our very souls. One excuse, a fragile thread in the tapestry of truth, ready to unravel at the slightest tug of scrutiny. One devastating lie, one theft, a heart-stopping moment at a time. He surrendered to the inevitable, a silent acceptance washing over him like a dark tide. He turned away, his gaze averted, as if I were nothing more than a ghost haunting the shadows of his indifference. He sat there, head bowed, a pitiful figure reminiscent of a child caught red-handed, but the cookies he had pilfered were far more sinister: trust, money, and the very essence of lives shattered in his wake. In a stunning twist of fate, he found himself condemned to a harrowing 14 months within the confines of a rehabilitation-centered facility. Half a cage, half a sanctuary. The judge declared, with a voice that echoed through the courtroom, that what was required was not merely punishment, but a framework of structure to guide the wayward soul. With a heart pounding and a breath held tight, I found myself nodding in agreement. Revenge was never my desire. All I yearned for was to break free from the shackles of fear that gripped my very soul. Weeks passed, and then it arrived: a letter, a haunting script in blue ink, beckoning from the depths of the envelope. Dearest mother, I find myself engulfed in a tempest of regret. In the depths of my soul, I am acutely aware that I am unworthy of any grace or favour. Never forgiveness. There will be no second chance. Yet, I must declare this, regardless of the consequences. Oh, how you were always so good to me, a beacon of kindness in a world of chaos. In the depths of my soul, I confess I contorted that purity, wielding it like a weapon for my selfish desires. In a moment of reckless abandon, I succumbed to the depths of my own selfishness. I deceived you. I have inflicted pain upon you. I'm in therapy now, grappling with the shadows of my past, unearthing buried secrets that claw at my soul. They're unveiling the truth before my very eyes, illuminating the shadows that once clouded my vision, with agonizing slowness, with excruciating intensity. In the depths of my heart, I harbour no illusions of your response. Yet, should you ever desire to, the door remains wide open. Daniel, with trembling hands, I folded the letter, each crease a whisper of secrets, and placed it in the box, a final resting place for words that could shatter worlds. Not merely to forget, but to etch into my very soul the harrowing journey that has brought me to this moment. Emily, with a heart heavy yet resolute, took a bold step into the unknown, leaving behind the shadows of her past. She landed a new job, and with it, a brand new apartment, a fresh start in a world that seemed to pulse with possibility. In the dim light of the cafe, our paths would cross once more, the air thick with unspoken words and lingering glances as we sipped our coffee, each moment heavy with the weight of what once was. We'd erupt in laughter, exchange whispers of hidden literary treasures, and delve into the delightful abyss of trivial chatter. We were both desperate for that moment, a breathless release that echoed through our very souls. In a bold act of defiance against the concrete jungle, I dared to plant a small garden outside my apartment, a fragile oasis amidst the chaos of urban life. Lavender, rosemary, and mint, each a whisper of nature's secrets, entwined in a fragrant dance that beckons the senses to unravel their mysteries. Plants that exuded an aura of tranquility and restoration, whispering secrets of serenity and solace. In a moment that would change everything, I stepped into the library, my heart racing with anticipation, and joined a book club that promised to unravel the very fabric of my existence. In a twist of fate, I found myself surrounded by new companions, their laughter echoing like a haunting melody in the air. With a fierce resolve, I began to utter the word no, shedding the weight of guilt that once shackled me. In a moment of breathtaking revelation, I found myself restored, piecing together the fragments of my shattered existence. One fateful day, I stumbled upon the decrepit old house, its shadows whispering secrets of the past. The very one I relinquished after Daniel shattered my world, leaving me stranded in the midst of our journey. In a bold stroke of transformation, the new family dared to repaint the house in a vibrant light yellow, a colour that screamed for attention. They introduced a swing set in the backyard, a symbol of laughter and childhood joy, while potted plants stood sentinel by the door, welcoming all with their vibrant hues. It had transformed, a haunting spectre of what once was, slipping through my fingers like sand, leaving only echoes of memories behind. It appeared as though the curtain had risen on a tale not meant for my eyes, a prologue to a life that was not my own. I smiled, a flicker of light in the encroaching darkness. For I have forged my own beginning, a moment that trembles with the weight of destiny, not constructed from the ashes of sacrifice or the heavy chains of guilt, nor the desperate illusion that love could mend what only therapy could heal. Yet, forged in the crucible of truth. Power, unyielding, a force that commands attention and respect. Lines drawn in the sand, a fierce clash of wills, where the heart races and the stakes soar. Boundaries, the invisible walls that both protect and imprison, igniting a tempest of emotions in their wake. And the kind of peace you grasp, after traversing the searing flames, your feet bare and bloodied,